Is it even possible to build a waterfall if you've got a really tiny space? I'd say most definitely.
This spring, we decided it was time to refresh the water features around our store, and that's exactly what this series is all about. Over the next couple of episodes, we'll either build from scratch or renovate waterfalls and ponds at our Inspiration Garden, so you can enjoy the freshwater feature lifestyle when you visit our store.
These waterfalls are great for the entrance to a home, a small backyard space. Even if you have a townhouse that lets you do gardening, this is something that might work for you. Today we're going to show you how we create multiple cascades in this tiny little section. One of the biggest challenges with small spaces is creating that reservoir so that we can have a pump inside to recirculate the water back up to the top. And for that, we're going to be using something called an aqua basin. This is a preformed unit. This is an older one that I had laying around, and since it's our display, we're going to use it here. But the new ones hold about 100 gallons of water. They've got an access port for the pump, and it gives you a reservoir to build on top of. The idea here is we're going to sink this down in this space. It takes up about a 4 foot by 4 foot footprint. Then from there, we're going to create a waterfall that comes back into here and then recirculates back up to the top. In this spot, we literally have just enough room to put this reservoir in, which is going to work perfect for what we're trying to accomplish. Right here, we're building behind a retaining wall. What I want to do is take this reservoir and sink it down so it's about 3 or 4 inches below the cap of this wall. That's going to give us a chance to have a waterfall spilling, looking like it's going back into the ground. Also, when we finish this off with our rock and gravel, it's not going to be a problem with it being too high or humping up right by the edge of the wall. On the side of the aqua basin, we already drilled and installed a bulkhead. This way our pump can be connected inside here, then our plumbing can come from the side and feed up to the top where we're going to have a spillway. This is the Aquascape 12-inch spillway. It's 12 inches wide. Water will come through the back of it in this bulkhead fitting. It hits this wall inside, and it actually spreads it out and diffuses the water so it comes out evenly. And this is a great example of what it looks like once it's installed. That spillway is sitting down about 3 or 4 inches below the gravel that's at the top there, giving a natural looking feel to the beginning of the waterfall. First thing we're going to do is take this reservoir, move it out of the way, and excavate down so we can fit this into this spot and get things rolling.
Now that we've explained all the components used for this water feature, it's time to start building. Let's dig a hole for the reservoir and hook up the plumbing.
Our reservoir is installed. Our plumbing has been hooked up. We came out of the bulkhead and put an elbow on. We're gonna run our 1.5 inch plumbing up to the top. We've got an access panel out in the front here. This way we can get to our pump easily with the waterfall that's gonna be built back behind it. Now that our reservoir is in, we can backfill around all 4 sides, compact it real well, and start shaping our shelving for what's going to be our future waterfall. And speaking of waterfall, here's our rock selection that we're gonna be working with. Rob and Kevin, who are helping me out today, actually laid out what was going to be mocked up as our waterfall. So we've got quite a few rocks that have some flat spots on them. We're going to be flowing 2,000 gallons an hour with our pump, so we've got to keep our weirs maximum 8 to 10 inches wide. We've got a stone here that's going to work dual purpose. It's got a flat spot to have water coming off, and it's got a natural shoulder on the left-hand side of it, which is going to help corral things. We'll have to block this side off with something else to make the water come down through the middle. I'd like to have this other rock down low so that maybe it rolls off onto it and back into the waterfall to end it. We're going to have 2 to 3 drops in this waterfall so we can get a little creative with some twists and turns in our 4 feet of length. These are all hand manageable boulders. We're not going to need any machines to set these. Most of these rocks are anywhere from 40 to 60 pounds. Easy enough for us to pick up and then maneuver into place on top of our reservoir.
With the hole dug and the plumbing installed, it's time to prepare the ground. We'll lay down the liner and fabric so we can start setting our rocks. After some rocks are set, Rob will explain the important steps with the liner to ensure nothing leaks and the reservoir works properly.
All right, guys, so we have our aqua basin in, so now we can start building the waterfall. The steps we've taken to get to this point involve putting our underlayment fabric, which is back here. So on the lip of the aqua basin back here, we have that fabric tucked nice and neatly, so this dirt does not migrate into your basin. So you're gonna wanna do that. Also, the fabric protects the liner from any sharp rocks or anything that can be underneath in the dirt. Then we put our liner on top of the aqua basin over here, so we can start putting our rocks and building our cascades. When you're building on top of an aqua basin, you have these slits in the aqua basin, which allows the waterfall to get back into the reservoir, which allows the pump to carry it back up to the top of the waterfall. So what we do is cut the liner back a little bit to make sure there is enough room for that water to get back into the reservoir.
We're like an hour in, we're setting our weir stones. Right now we finished the first level, which goes into the reservoir. Right now we're working on the second level. At each level, we're using our aquascape foam and we're sealing behind these frame rocks and weir stones. This is not a waterproofing agent. This is more like just sealing it up the waterfall so we can actually corral the water to go over where we want it to go. We want it to go over our weir stones, like we said before, that's where our cascades are. And these are our frame rocks that's corralling this water. So at each level, we're foaming behind the rocks, against the liner, try to get as watertight seal as possibly we can. It's not waterproof, but just enough to get 99% of the water over our weir stones. So at each level, our cascades are facing different angles, different viewing angles across the water, the display gardens. And so you can see this one's going to the left, this one's following right behind it. We're using our frame rocks kind of zigzagging back and forth. Our next cascade's actually going to be going right back here. Behind that is our diffuser. That's what's going to start our waterfall. But that way, even though we're kind of in a straight line, we're really not. We're zigzagging back and forth, giving some interest and action across this waterfall. Right now, we're at the top of our waterfall, and in this west of liner, we have our spillway diffuser. This one we had to cut down because it's such a tight space. We're working against a retaining wall boulder and then the actual foundation of a building. So we had to cut it down and make it fit. But right on the back side of these spillways, we have our bulkheads, and these bulkheads actually come with a plastic and rubber washer. These are all the components of it. And on this liner, I actually cut a hole. So this is our penetration that's actually going through the liner, and this gasket's going to make a waterproof seal. This plumbing's going to tie in the back of it, and that's actually going to diffuse the water, so the water percolates slowly through this diffuser and starts the waterfall, and you're not going to see any components at all. So sometimes when we're building waterfalls, we're not able to backfill with soil, and sometimes we have to use gravel as our backfill. So in this scenario where we're building on top of the basin, we have our gravel backfill. If we don't foam that up, the water's just going to go through that gravel, never go over our weir stone. So what we're actually going to be doing here is a bib liner. This one's not complete. This one we just finished up. So what we did is we basically scribed a piece of liner to all the rocks. Then we use our waterfall foam. We go about 2 to 3 inches all the way around, and we place that liner on top. So now when this weir stone, when the water goes over this weir stone and falls into this pool, this liner won't let any water actually fall through the gravel that's underneath it, allowing water to go over the next cascade.
Because it's a small waterfall project, the finishing touches went quickly. Soon enough, the water was running for the first time and looking fantastic. Thanks for watching this episode. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe. And remember, this is just one of the water features we're building in this spot, so don't miss the upcoming episodes.